Thank you so much for waiting. I know I'm cutting it close. If you can take Fifth Avenue, we'll miss the construction on... this isn't my Uber.
No, it is not. Don't.
Excuse me.
Marco, take her down Fifth Avenue. Then wherever she needs to go.
I don't even know who you are. Ethan Cole.
Please, can I ask for a favor? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Your support means a lot and helps us bring you more exciting and heartfelt stories. Thank you. Now, let's dive into the story. Zara Bennett did not have time for mistakes. She had exactly 4 minutes to get across the rain-soaked parking lot of Meridian University, slide into her rideshare, and make it downtown before her scholarship interview began. 4 minutes. The kind of window that does not forgive hesitation, and she knew it. Which is why she was already running before she had fully processed the fact that her umbrella had flipped inside out and was now functioning as nothing more than a crumpled piece of metal wire above her drenched head. She spotted the black car immediately. Long, sleek, idling at the far end of the pickup zone, exactly where the app had told her it would be. Without hesitation, she yanked open the rear door and threw herself inside, pulling the door shut behind her with the particular desperation of a woman who had decided that wet dignity was still dignity. "Thank you so much for waiting," she breathed, pushing wet strands of hair from her face. "I know I'm cutting it close. If you can take Fifth Avenue, we'll miss the construction on..." She stopped. The man sitting in the back seat beside her was not a rideshare driver. He was not, in any sense of the word, a rideshare driver. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her entire monthly rent, with a jaw sharp enough to cut glass, and dark eyes that were currently studying her, with the look of a man who had just witnessed something entirely unexpected and hadn't quite decided whether to be amused or irritated by it. He was also not alone. In the driver's seat, across from her, sat a uniformed chauffeur who had turned to look at her with an expression of profound professional confusion. Zara blinked. She looked from him to the chauffeur and then at the leather interior, so immaculate it seemed to have been installed just that morning. She looked back at the man. "This isn't my Uber," she said. "No," he said, his voice low and steady. "It is not." Her hand instinctively reached for the door handle, but then he spoke again. "Don't." The word hung in the air, not an order, not a request, just a simple, calm command, as if he rarely had to say anything twice. Zara hesitated and turned back, her mind spinning. "Excuse me? You're soaking wet, you're in a hurry, and it's still raining," he said, his gaze unwavering. "Marco, take her down Fifth Avenue, then wherever she needs to go." The chauffeur, Marco, nodded without a word, and the car glided smoothly away from the curb. Zara sat very still, unsure of what to say. Her mind was racing, still processing the absurdity of the situation. "I don't even know who you are," she said finally. The man, still staring out the window, shifted his gaze to her. "Ethan Cole." The name hit her like a wave, sudden and overwhelming. Ethan Cole, CEO of Cole Meridian Group, one of the youngest billionaires in the country. She'd written a paper about his company's market strategy last semester and had given it a B- for what she thought was an overly aggressive acquisition model. She had not, at the time, expected to be sitting next to him, dripping water onto his pristine leather seats. "Zara Bennett," she said, her voice catching in her throat, realizing how ridiculous she must look. His lips twitched, almost imperceptibly. "I know." She blinked, still processing. "You know my name?" "Of course," he replied smoothly. "You're the Bennett Scholar. You won the Meridian Economic Research Grant last spring. Your paper on emerging market supply chain vulnerabilities was circulated to 3 of my department heads. He said it like it was the weather. Casual, matter of fact, not complimentary, just factual. Zara's mind raced. My paper was published in a university journal with a circulation of about 400 people, she said, trying to remain calm. 412. I was one of them. The car sped through the rain, the city blurring outside. Zara was painfully aware of her wet clothes, her ruined blazer, and how absurdly out of place she felt. Yet, as the car moved smoothly through the rain, she couldn't help but notice something in the air between them. The tension, that subtle pull. "Why are you at a university parking lot?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. "I was meeting with the dean about a research endowment," he said, glancing at his expensive watch. "You have an interview." She frowned. "How do you said scholarship interview when you got in." Zara pressed her lips together, realizing how little she'd thought things through. "The Alderton Fellowship," she said, her voice steadying. "Full funding for a master's at any institution in the country. I've been working toward it for 2 years. Ethan's gaze softened, just a little. It was a look that made her feel more than she should. "And you almost missed it because of a broken umbrella. And a wrong car," she added, attempting a joke. But his nearly imperceptible smile told her she was not the only one who noticed the irony. If you are enjoying the story so far, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Your support means a lot and helps us bring you more exciting and heartfelt stories. Thank you. Back to the story. "The car was in the right place," he said, his voice quiet, but full of a certain warmth. "Your rideshare was on the other side of the lot." Zara looked out the window, realizing the absurdity of her situation. The car was cruising down Fifth Avenue, making excellent time despite the rain. She couldn't deny it. Whatever else could be said about accidentally getting into a billionaire's private car, it was certainly faster than a rideshare. "Thank you," she said, her tone sincere, though she was still trying to wrap her head around it all. A few days later, Zara's phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but then she did. "Ms. Bennett," the voice on the other end said. She recognized it immediately. It was Ethan's voice, smooth, confident, but with a hint of something softer underneath. "Mr. Cole?" She had no idea how he had her number, but she didn't ask. "Your scholarship application is on file with the university administration," he said casually. "I fund that department. Your contact info is in the appendix. How did the interview go?" "I think it went well," she said, her heart skipping a beat. "Why are you calling me?" "Because I'd like to offer you something," he replied, the words cool but purposeful. "A research position at Cole Meridian Group, full salary, 12 months, access to our proprietary data sets and market analytics. At the end, a guaranteed letter of recommendation to any institution of your choosing." Zara froze. "That's a significant offer." "Yes," he replied, his tone direct. "For someone I met 20 minutes ago." She thought for a moment. "For someone whose work I've been reading for 6 months," he continued, his voice steady. "The 20 minutes was simply confirmatory, not introductory." Her mind spun. She was torn between the offer, the fellowship, and the undeniable tension between them. "Dinner?" she said suddenly, her voice firm. "If you want to make an offer, make it over dinner, somewhere I choose. Because so far, you've had all the advantages in this conversation, and I'd like to even it out." Ethan didn't miss a beat. "Tuesday," he said. "Send me the address." Zara had never imagined that her accidental entry into a billionaire's car would lead to this, working side by side with Ethan Cole. But here she was, 5 weeks into her role at Cole Meridian Group, with the hum of the city outside and something electric hanging between them. As the days passed, Ethan's presence, once just a professional force in the office, began to feel like something else, something personal. Zara noticed how he seemed to linger just a little longer when they exchanged ideas, how his eyes softened when he spoke to her, how he reached out more often when they were working closely. One evening, when the office had emptied and it was just the two of them, Zara found herself across from Ethan once more, the sharp scent of his cologne lingering in the air, and his warmth so close that she could almost feel the heat of his body without him touching her. He leaned in slightly as he read over her report, his shoulder brushing hers. It was subtle, but the connection between them deepened in that shared moment. "Zara," he said softly, his voice breaking through the stillness, "I need to be honest with you." Her heart skipped a beat. "Honest?" He leaned back, raking a hand through his hair, looking almost uncharacteristically nervous. "I've tried to ignore it," he admitted, his voice low. "But I can't anymore. I can't stop thinking about you." Her breath hitched. There it was, the confession she had been hoping for, but was unsure how to receive. "I can't concentrate on anything else," he continued, moving closer. "Every time I see you, in the office, in the car, it's like I'm falling for you all over again. I didn't expect this, but I can't pretend anymore. I've fallen for you, Zara, so madly. I don't know how to control it." Zara's heart pounded in her chest. The words she had always feared hearing, and yet desperately wanted, were now out in the open. She didn't need to think twice. "I love you too, Ethan," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. And just like that, everything that had been building between them came to a head, and the walls between their professional lives and their personal feelings crumbled. The kiss was tender, a quiet release of everything that had been left unsaid. Their love was no longer something unspoken, something they had to hide behind their work. It was real, raw, and completely theirs. In the days that followed, their love blossomed amidst the professional backdrop. Their bond grew stronger, unshakable, as they navigated life together, balancing work and love, and always supporting each other. Their future was theirs to build, one dream at a time. And when Ethan proposed, it was nothing grand, just a moment of quiet intimacy over dinner. A simple, "Will you marry me, Zara?" with all the love he had shown her over the months, wrapped in sincerity and deep emotion. Her answer came without hesitation. "Yes, Ethan, 1,000 times, yes." The next chapter of their story had begun, and they would face it, together, unstoppable. Final thoughts. This tweak deepens the emotional and physical intimacy between Zara and Ethan. The addition of more tender moments, especially when they are working together, helps to build the romantic connection more naturally. Ethan's vulnerability makes his confession impactful, and Zara's response shows her emotional growth. The proposal is simple but meaningful, encapsulating their journey from professional respect to deep, lasting love. If you enjoyed this love story, please like, comment, and subscribe to see more heartfelt tales. Your support helps us continue creating the stories that make your heart race.